Welcome to the Pink Lady Posse podcast, Women Who Refuse to Disappear. You are either creating your life or living one you inherited. Friction management. It matters because breakthrough is your way out of drift. See the drag? Return to say, let's go. I am Sandy Parker Martinez with the Pink Lady Posse podcast, and I'm so happy to meet and be here with Bloom Bauer. And I found her on Facebook because, first of all, she's a yellow ray of sunshine. And you'll understand that because companies have yellow in that. But so glad to have you, Bloom. How are you and where are you?
Thank you so much, Sandy, for having me. I am so excited to be here today. I am on the Oregon coast. I'm live in a little cabin on a lake on the Oregon coast.
How perfect. So we started out, and I am just turned 70 this week. And
Happy birthday.
thank you. The first thing she said was just like, bing. And that was she worked in one of those little photo development booths that Kodak had. And weren't they in parking lots?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about that and then what that led to in Kodak.
Yes,
I love
so
that. I must have had a million pictures developed in one of those little places.
me too. Me too. Uh, when I was working when I was a young person at a portrait studio where they took, like glamour shots and high school graduation photos, family photos. And a gal reached out to me and asked me to come and work for the Kodak Photo Lab booth as an assistant manager. And I was really excited by the opportunity. I already loved film and photos, and I've always been a creative person and sounded really fun. And I took the job, and eventually I was managing 7 locations. And then ultimately I ended up on Kodak's marketing team, their national marketing team. And yeah, so I ended up, just following this big career path that sadly ended unexpectedly when Kodak didn't go the way of film anymore, or didn't go digital.
Right.
They really held on to film. Digital was really grainy and terrible at the beginning. And so they thought this is going to be a fad. No one's really going to go this direction. We're going to stick to film. We're going to keep putting our money in film. We went a slightly digital, like we had a digital printer, but that's not the same as like going digital, working with people that are going to have digital cameras and things like that.
Okay, so
And
let me ask you a question. What
yeah.
is it like to be in Kodak's marketing department? Like, what does that open your eyes to?
Oh my gosh, it's a wild world. I mean, it basically you're exhausted first of all, because you're working 60 to 70 hours a week because you're still managing your photo labs, but you're also working on the marketing team that's a national marketing team. There were 9 of us, and we got to decide things as simple as like product packaging, all the way up to what product price points would be, what kind of sales we'd have, what kind of campaigns we'd have, all of that kind of stuff. We decided what the little disposable camera would look like on the shelf. Um, and flying all over the place, flying into North Carolina, into Florida, into Arizona, just New Mexico, just all over the country. You're always flying to have a meeting, talk with people, figure things out, and then flying home and running your stores again.
Now, you know what's interesting is, I'm an entrepreneur and you're an entrepreneur. And I go, gosh, to have a brand like Kodak, I mean, a brand like
Yes.
Kodak. And, sometimes as an entrepreneur, you think, gosh, if I could build something like that, it would really be amazing. And something like that was really amazing, did not take a turn for the future.
Yes. Exactly. And I think that taught me like a lesson about like really adapting to things as they change and being willing to grow and be open-minded about everything new that comes my way. Do I use everything new that falls in my lap? No. But do I try it? Do I check it out? Do I at least read a little about it to see if it's something I want to do or be interested in? Yes, for sure.
So you had the unfortunate task of reinventing yourself, which many of us do. In fact, most women between the age of 50 and 75 go through 3 to 5 major reinventions.
Yes.
And you don't look 51, but you are over 50, which is shocking. And
Thank you.
you've already been through 3 to 5 reinventions.
Yes, I have.
So after Kodak, you did what?
So then I took a 6 month sabbatical basically and thought about what I wanted to do with my life. And I realized I wanted to go back to school and finish getting my bachelor's degree. I went back and I got my bachelor's degree in fine art. And after that, I ended up working for a national nonprofit, the Middle Eastern Culture and Dance Association, where I was the president of that organization. And we put on events.
Hey, let me ask you
Um,
about that.
yeah,
Middle Eastern dance, is that belly dancing?
it is. It is.
Okay,
Yes.
now that means you were associated with it, or you just got the greatest job ever.
I was a belly dancer to start and then started volunteering for the organization and then ended up getting to be the president of the organization.
So here again, here's the marketing that comes so naturally to you. And what was it like to be in that world?
A dream. A
Was
dream.
it?
Like so wonderful, so magnificent. I mean, all of the people I met and know to this day. Most people have a pool of 5 to 10 friends, or maybe even 20 that they could, call on from around the world. I've got hundreds of friends from that experience. And then hundreds from another experience and hundreds from another. And so it's just this huge pool of women and people around me that just uh support art and creativity. And that just is something that just fuels me.
Well, when I very first started with Pink Lady Posse, I had had both of my hips and both of my knees replaced. And so I wasn't getting out very much.
Oh
And
yeah.
so it wasn't just survival, which it was. But as I went through different things, I needed people around me that say, you're not alone. I feel it too.
Yeah.
I mean, we women have to have a posse. I'm
We
committed.
do. We do. We need community around us. Even moving here to the Oregon coast, at first I was a little bit nervous. We didn't have any friends or family here, but we wanted to live here. It was so beautiful and nature, and it was all the things we wanted, but we didn't know anyone yet. And now I have a group of 15 ladies. We call ourselves the Yayas.
The
Uh,
young, the Yaya Sisterhood.
yeah, like the Yaya sisterhood. And we're ranging from 45 to 80. So it's a big, and we're just a group of friends. It's not like a club or anything. We just get together and we have birthday celebrations, we have lunches, we go shopping together. We just do all of these fun things. And without community around us, I feel like life is so much harder to get through and to move forward in without that like big community.
I think so. And the the Surgeon General said isolation has the same impact on your body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Oh my goodness.
And we say, let's don't fade out. Let's let the last half of our life be a reveal. But it's so easy to just not get out and not make those connections that are so life-giving.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's really important. And even if even if those connections are online or on the phone most of the time, that's okay. You need that community. You need something. You need a project. My dad always says you need a project to keep going into your older years because if you don't have something to wake up for each day and to go do, it makes life start to become a little more cumbersome.
I've heard that you're about as happy right now as the future you're living into.
Yeah.
Because if you have nothing you're living into, then you're just sort of pending, it's like it's not a healthy way to be, but it takes some incentive, it takes some initiative to actually get out there and create the life you want. So then you became a teacher.
Yes, so I taught school, elementary school art, and that was really fun. I loved it. It was about 6 years, 5, 6 years, and it was really fun, and I loved it. But the education system has a lot of politics that I didn't enjoy, and over time they kept shrinking and shrinking how much time I had to teach art, and it just became really difficult to actually teach art to the children. At first I had time to open books and show them examples and then talk about what we were going to do, and then we would get all the supplies out and we would do it, and then we would put all the supplies away. And I got to the point where we didn't even have time to get stuff out and put it away. So it just got into a little bit of an awkward place, as they were starting to remove art from schools over time. And so that was really a bummer, but okay. And after that, I decided to just go full entrepreneur. I wanted to do the thing myself. And so I just got back into marketing and social media and consulting and teaching social media and doing done for you services. And
Now,
um,
we were just talking a minute ago, and you said something that really piqued my interest when you said, I wrote a blog about, is my art too weird?
mm, yeah, I just recently wrote a blog about, is my art too weird to sell? And it's not. Everybody has different taste and different styles. Something that I think is beautiful, someone else will say is ugly. And that's just how life is, because we all see things differently. We have different past experiences that influence our decisions. We have different people around us that influence our decisions. And so if your art is weird, that's okay, because a million people like this art and a million people like that art and a million people will like your art. It just needs to get out there and be seen. And I think a lot of times as artists, we hide ourselves and hide our art away. Like we hear about artists that pass away and then we find all their art in their closet,
Hmm.
and we hear, we say, oh, they had millions of paintings in their home that no one ever saw, that were
Wow.
brilliant and beautiful, because we hide ourselves away. We're afraid that it's so personal to make the art, and I get that. We put a lot of our heart into it and our feelings, and sometimes it's, you're processing feelings when you're making art, and so sharing it and then getting negative feedback is really hard. But at the same time, if you remember that that negative feedback is going to be so teeny compared to the positive feedback, the people that are your people that like your art are going to come gravitate to you. And the people that don't, that's okay. They're going to say something icky maybe sometimes, and you're going to say, that's all right. I have these other million people that love my art. This million cannot like it. That's all right. I
Well,
don't need everybody.
that is a life lesson. One of the things that I teach is friction management. And that means, where is drag in your life? And when you feel like, gee, even the question, is my art too weird? That is, that's what we call a wobble. It's internal processing, right? Or it's internal pondering. And you have to really get to a point where you say, this is mine. This is what I have to say. This is what I want to do. And I have to just put a little distance between where friction shows up.
Yes.
And that's a life lesson.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you had to learn that the first time you ever showed anybody your art. You have to go, here it is. And
Yes.
then you have to finally come to terms with, it's mine. It's
Yeah.
me. And this is the way I'm going to live in the world.
Yes. And I think that's something so freeing about turning 50 or even turning 30 or turning 40. Every decade we get older, we realize that why are we not being ourselves? We have these epiphanies of, why am I not just being my full authentic self? Why am I trying to be this other thing? And I think, it comes from grade school, elementary, and high school, like where we get kind of bullied into, tampering ourselves down. And so maybe it just takes us like our 20s and 30s and 40s to get to build that back up, to build back up our self-esteem and who we really are. I think it also takes us time to figure out who we are, after that. Once we're adults and living on our own, who am I? What do I like? I've only liked what my parents liked so far, kind of thing. And so I really think we need we need more confidence. And as artists, that's an extreme statement, I think. I think a lot of artists have a lack of confidence, and I want to help boost them up. I want to help them know that their art is incredible.
Well, and it's a tender place in your heart when you're making art. It's not like, I don't know, it just comes right straight from your soul. So it's a little bit more vulnerable. So now I know you have the yellow studio, your yellow studio. I love your neon, by the way.
Thank
The
you.
yellow desk. And then you have another company too. So just tell me this, that, and that, what you do in all three, because that's sort of a multi world thing you've got going on.
Yes, so I started the Yellow Desk as a blog, an online blog when I moved here, and the whole beginning of the blog was our move getting here. It was
Mm.
kind of a magical move. We had to do it in 30 days and it had to all work out or we weren't going to get here. And so it was this big like process that all these hoops and things kept flying at us and we had to keep dodging them and jumping over them and to get here, and we made it happen. And everyone told us we were crazy to move to a place where we had no friends or family or jobs. And we did it anyway because we loved it here and we wanted to live somewhere that we loved. And it was just time, for that. And so that's how Yellow Dust started out. Then I started doing illustration art again and illustrating. And so Yellow Desk was part of that, the illustration and the blog. And then I was like, what am I going to do with these illustrations? And when I was a belly dancer, I had a small clothing business where I would sell my fun designs on clothing, on yoga pants and t-shirts and tank tops. And it would say things like hot hips or belly dancer or just different things and or have different designs. And I wanted to do that again, kind of, but I didn't want to get back into the process of having inventory and having to ship things out and all of that. And so I looked into print on demand and had it gotten any better than it used to be? I don't know if you remember Cafe Press. It was like the original print on
Oh my
demand.
gosh. So what you would do is you would send a picture, they would have their t-shirt blanks, and then you would say, I have a sale, and they would send it out.
Yeah, yeah. And
Well,
so
what happened to Cafe Press? It's
I
still out.
know. I don't even know. Honestly, I should look that up.
Another brand that was solvent and solid.
Yes,
That is
exactly.
not on the top of my mind now. Isn't that a story twice in this conversation?
Yeah, yeah, because they didn't, I bet if we looked into it, I bet the thing is that they didn't move on to the next kind of DTG printing, which is direct to garment printing. And they were doing iron on, heat press
Oh
on
yeah.
designs. And so they would flake and wash off over time. And so that's not a sustainable business because people aren't going to like a product that, where the design flakes and washes off over time.
Mhm.
So I looked into print on demand again and I built the yellow boutique because I ordered a couple of things and the items were beautiful. I mean, the colors were spot on. The design, it kept my exact design, everything was just gorgeous. And so I started the yellow boutique, started selling leggings to start. Um, and that has been a source of income for me ever since then, since 2017.
Well, see these ads in Facebook where it's got, an artist holding up her painting and then wearing, I guess leggings or a top. That
Yes.
is a real way to make money.
Yes, exactly. And you can put it on journals, on mugs, coffee mugs, on just so many there's probably a million products. I mean, it's really crazy how many products there are. And so yeah, I started doing that and still doing consulting, still teaching, started doing social media consulting and teaching and stuff in the meantime, and running my boutique. And just year before last, at the end of the year, I thought I want to get really back into teaching. I want to build a new business that is teaching, and that's what I started doing. I started the Yellow Studio, and it just made sense because I had the yellow desk and the yellow boutique. It just made sense it was the Yellow Studio. And it's a studio where I teach artists how to grow their businesses with AI and print on demand. So they use AI as an assistant and print on demand as their product manufacturing, so that their one art piece that could take maybe a month to paint or draw or create, now they can take that one piece and sell it 100 different ways on 100 different products to 100 different people
Now,
instead of
how
each.
many people would you say you've taught that to?
Quick question. Have you noticed how easy it is to drift through this season of life? Not unhappy, just slightly checked out. Yeah, that. At Think Pink, we don't fix women. We help them come alive again. Honest conversation. Easy occasions for discovery. No duct taping a smile over burnout. No reinvent your entire life by Tuesday. Just people who care and gentle nudges that help you feel like yourself again. I mean, the truth is, you can't be your best self by yourself. If that sentence made something in you nod, we made a free Think Pink starter gift just for you. Come take a look. No fixing, just connection. Go to pinkladyposse.com and click on Think Pink. Stay awake to your own life and not alone.
Now, how many people would you say you've taught that to?
Oh gosh, a lot over the years, even before I started officially teaching it. I have always had people reaching out to me. How do you do this? How do I do that? Who do I use? And I'm always just sharing. And that was kind of what influenced me to pick this as my next um, career in life. Teaching people this specific subject, because I had so many people always asking me, where do I get the best t-shirts? Where do I get a mug? Where do I do this? How do I do it? How do I save my file for it? How do I take a picture of my painting for it? All of that kind of stuff. And yeah, it just felt like a natural progression.
You
And
know what
the
I
little
see?
epiphany.
What's sorry to interrupt. What I
That's
see that's so crazy and so beautiful is that it's like you're floating in a river that takes you this way and then that way and then that way. And when I listen to you talk, it doesn't sound like crises.
no, yeah,
It sounds like change and flow.
yeah, yeah.
How
I
do
think
you keep yourself in that? Like, what helps you stay in that flow state?
Well, positivity. I think one of the biggest things is being a positive person. I In my 30s, I decided I had kind of a hard 20s. It was rocky. And I wasn't very positive or happy, and I was complaining a lot, and I was just in a bad place. And when I turned 30, I said, "You know what? I'm just going to be happy this year." It was like a weird thing to promise myself, but I just did. I was like, "I'm just going to be happy this year." And I didn't know how either. I didn't know how that was going to happen, or why, or what I would even do to make it happen. I just said it. I'm going to be happy this year. And then the whole year I was like, no, I'm going to be happy. No, I'm going to be happy. So if any of the negativity or any of the things came in, I said, I'm going to be happy. And I feel like, and I know that's not, doesn't answer your question fully, but I think it's a big part of being able to change and flow with the things that come and go out of my life, is underlying under all of that. The career goes like this, and the life goes like this, and underneath all of that is that thing where I say I'm going to be happy. And so if I keep just doing the things that make me happy and the things that excite me and pull me in the right direction, and then really stick to it. The other side of that is tenacity. I really think you have to have tenacity, and you have to keep at it. You can't just try for 2 weeks or a month or a year. You have to really give it your all for a good amount of time until you just either prove to yourself that it's going to work, or prove to yourself that it can't work. But that's okay, because if it can't work, you're going to flow into the next thing because you
Well,
still have those two
I
underlying.
see. Yeah, I see what's so important. People, a lot. I just was talking to a woman before we got here, and she was like, I've just been behind the scenes so long, and I just, I just can't be visible. I just can't put myself out there. And I thought, you know what? A lot of it is decision. I have a girlfriend, and she said, I'm going to live an irritation-free life.
Hmm.
I mean, it's sort of like what you said, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
She just decided that being irritated is taking draining a lot of her energy, and she's just going to live an irritation-free life. And so she just doesn't invest in what's irritating.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I do too. And
That's
but
who
it
I
sounds
am.
like that's what you did with being happy.
It's very similar. It's very similar. It just as these things come up that made me, try to be unhappy or be less happy, I would take those, I would say no to those things. No, this is not who I am. This is not who I'm going to be. I want to be happy.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean I never get sad. It doesn't mean I never cry.
Of course.
Terrible things happen in the world. Terrible things happen to us personally. Um, and so, yes, do I cry? Do I ever get sad? Am I ever in a bad place? Absolutely. But I think I come out of it easier because I just have that underlying quality of wanting to be happy more than anything.
You also have this beautiful spirit about wanting to help others.
Yeah, I
You were talking about artists who don't want to sell their own work and that you're behind them. And, it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to be surrounded with people. I'm not speaking just of you as human beings. There are people around us with whom we can be helpful.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
when
that's
we
true.
take that on, it makes a difference to us.
That's true. I always feel really good giving to people, giving back, giving more than I need to get from a person.
Mhm,
I just really, I've always loved teaching, which is giving. I've always loved volunteering. I've volunteered my whole life at different things.
mhm.
I do love, and I think that's part of being happy though. I found out that those things make me happy. And so I do them a lot because they bring me a lot of joy.
Yeah, and joy is so important. Well, we were talking about AI, but before, and I want to know about that because how old or how long have you been involved in AI?
So I started working in AI in 2024, the beginning of 2024. Um, and so only a couple of years now.
It's only
And
been around a couple of years, right?
yeah, well, 2022, I think, is when it technically started being available to the public. But people were, that would be very early adopters and usually were tech people
Mhm.
because it didn't really have, no one had really thought of any use cases for the everyday person yet at that point. And so it was more people in tech using it. So yeah, by 2024, it's becoming a lot more uh, inclusive, I think, where there are all of these use cases for us using it as regular people. And
Like you
yeah,
said, well, you tell me some of the examples you have because a lot of older people are hesitant to change. Now, 70 is different than 50, but I'm going to tell you what, change has happened your whole life
yeah,
and
yeah,
you've moved right forward with it. So here's another one. And
yeah,
you jumped in
yeah.
and you tried to figure out what's in it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I started taking some classes and just got really excited at what it could do. And then when I started realizing, at first I was just working with like imagery type things, and then I started working with LLMs. And when I realized what it could do, it could be that assistant in my life that I always needed and wanted. It changed my whole life. It blew everything up. It made everything just feel more possible and more doable. And I tell you, AI can help you boost your confidence too. If
How
you
is
ask your
that?
You can ask your LLM to talk to you in a way that's supportive. Hey, you're my cheerleader, you're my coach, you're the one that's going to help me get to where I want to go. I'm going to tell you where I want to go, and I want you to cheerlead me on all the way. And it will talk in those ways. And that's really powerful to have even a non-sentient being send you messages back to in your conversation saying, you've got this, you can do this, you look at all this skill you have, look at all this experience you have, look at the things you've already done, you can do this next thing too. And
I
that's really
love that.
powerful.
Well, and there are classes out there,
Oh
and there
yeah.
are people out there like you,
Yeah.
and then I'm out here trying to help women get rid of the drag. Where you feel drag, it's a signal. It's a signal of out of alignment. It
Yeah.
just means it can be corrected. You don't have to be depressed, and you don't have to be living with these things that can be altered. And so I'm teaching people how to live, a drag-free life. And it doesn't mean all the time, but it means there are tools and people that can help you.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing with friction management is helping people detect it says detect the drag, see the drag, and return to your say.
Oh, I love that. I
And a
love
lot of
that.
people don't know what say is, that sense of agency. But when my mother said, because I said so, I know what it meant. It meant she had a say.
Yeah.
And I have a say in how my life goes.
Yeah.
Or I can give it away.
Yeah.
Or I can be convinced by things I inherited, ideas I inherited that aren't even mine, or things I picked up from culture
Yeah.
that I no longer believe in.
Yep.
Right? So when you wonder, is my art too weird? It's a beautiful example of an internal wobble where you go, eh, but it's not out there. It's in here. And
It is.
I have just learned one that I bet I'll see a lot now that I can detect it. And it's FOMO, fear of missing out.
Mm.
When I see something on Facebook, and of course, my feed now is full of, I bought this app and now I have 31 clients, and I did this and now I have miracles. And if it weren't for this, and I'm like, gosh, I don't have 31 clients. What we see is out there. What we decide to live like with it is in here.
Yeah.
But when I see FOMO now and somebody goes, you got 3 spots, I feel like it's like a car commercial. It's like there's going to be another car. I'm not going to live in scarcity mode because of a Facebook ad,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it can get you.
Yes. It's true. It's
It
true.
can
And
get you.
that's a marketing tactic, of course.
Of
It-
course.
and it's one that's worked for a really long time, but guess what? These things are not start they're starting to not work anymore, those old marketing tactics. And that's another thing that, I'm learning and growing with all on the side always, because I want to know how people are responding to things as a marketer, and and being into social media and having that innate in me. I always want to know why people are responding to things and what they're responding to. And I even know I pay attention to how I respond to these things. Like how you said, I'm not going to be fooled by the scarcity tactic. And I think a lot of people are on that tip too. They're saying, I'm going to do me. And when I have time for that, if I want to do it, I will go over there and do that too. But if I don't, or I don't ever have time, that's okay.
Well, I think we're evolving. I think we are always evolving. And if the more we evolve to our natural state of who we are, the happier we are. I think where we get mixed up is trying to imitate what we see out there that we should be, that somebody said or somebody projected. And now we live in the gap between what we are and that fiction. So we
Yeah.
sort of live without our strongest sense of self.
Yeah. That is so true. I agree with that 100%. It's like that book by Glennon Doyle, Untamed, it's called. And she talks about how when we're little kids, we run free, we do whatever we want. We don't even give 2 seconds thought to what
Mm,
anyone might be considering what we're doing.
right.
We don't worry that running in the grass with no shoes, someone might not like that, or that running down the street with our dog, someone might not like that. We're never thinking that way as children. And we lose that knowing what we want and knowing what makes us happy. We lose that over time. I think society and our the people around us and the marketing that we see come at us tells us a different story, tells us that these things aren't okay, or the thing you love, people love rock climbing. That's not my thing, but that's okay. Like, but they tell you, oh, it's dangerous, or the news will say this guy fell and died during rock climbing. But the rock climbers know that that was because that person was unprepared or he had a bad day or whatever, but they're still
And
willing
life
to do it.
happens.
Yeah, and things happen. And so I think we lose that, like that knowing of what we want and what makes us happy, and we're very concerned about the outside appearance of what that looks like.
Well, I am so happy to know you because I'm fascinated with your art, fascinated with what you do. And I want to make sure that they know that your links are in the show notes so people can find you because you
Wonderful.
do sell your art.
I do. I do.
Yes. And I also want to just ask you in closing if you had one thing to say to your shot, right, to this one woman that might be listening. What would you say to encourage her, or what would you say that's your unique thing to offer Bloom Bauer?
I would say be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to be unique. Uniqueness is what sells, is what people are drawn to, is what people love. They love, I mean, do you know who Iris Van Apfel is? Like
Love her.
everyone loves her because she's unique. She's herself unapologetically. So be yourself unapologetically. Do what you love, do what makes you happy, and be happy. Say, I'm going to be happy. I want everyone to say that right now. I'm going to
I'm
be
going to be
happy.
happy.
And you don't know how, and you don't know what you're going to do to make that happen, but that's okay. You're going to figure it out as you go. And you're going to just say, keep saying it. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to do me. I'm going to be me.
That is beautiful. Bloom, thank you so much for being with me. And we're going to wrap it up here. And then I'm going to stay on with you. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been so much fun chatting with you and your audience.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Pink Lady Posse Podcast, where women go from what now to what's next. Come join us at pinkladyposse.com, where we share community, resources, and tools to support your next beautiful chapter. With love, light, and a little lipstick. See you next time.